Okay, welcome everyone. Today's topic is automation is the key. Today we're going to talk about something new, something that we've never discussed, and it's an untapped market for off-market properties that we're going to be able to find extremely motivated sellers. Okay, so in the system, we've talked about MLS deals, off-market deals, right? However, friends, there is an untapped off-market lead pipe that is huge. Many of us are not utilizing. So we're starting now to tap into that lead pipe. And those are canceled and expired listings, okay? So what does that mean, okay? What does that mean, cancel or expired listings? So let's just quickly talk about that. When somebody puts the property in the MLS for sale, it's because they're motivated, right? So they wanna sell the property. However, the listing agreement with the listing agent may expire. And at that point, they're still wanting to sell the property, but for whatever reason, they have not put it back on the market. And the other lead pipe is canceled. So they put it on the MLS, and for whatever reason, they cancel the listing. However, in the first place, they were motivated to sell it. Something changed. It could be related to the property or a personal situation, but that's our job to find out, because most likely, over 50% of the times, those motivated sellers still want to sell the property, okay? So we're gonna tap into that lead pipe moving forward, which is extremely powerful. Let me just give you an example. I'm gonna do a quick search of 4722 South Cadwell. Okay, so this property in Chicago, okay? Okay, perfect. So this is a clear example. And then I'm gonna show you how we're gonna find some awesome deals that are hidden, okay, by extremely motivated sellers. Okay, so this is a property that we bought for 120,000. Okay, and what we wanted to do is we wanted to wholesale the property. Okay, so we closed this property at 120, and check this out. We put it back on the market for 157,000. So it was in the market for about a week. So you see what we're trying to do. So here we're trying to wholesale the property. So we didn't do anything to the property. We just wanted to wholesale the property. However, my wife said, hey, Hugo, you know, I think we should go ahead and flip the property instead of wholesaling the property. Let's go ahead and do the work on the property. I mean, it will only take 35,000 for the rehab. So we might as well do the rehab, because the ARV on the property was going to be over 200,000. So indeed, we ended up canceling the listing after 8 days. And then we started to do the rehab. But at this point, friends, we canceled the listing, right? But our motivation was still to sell the property. So now, put yourself in our shoes. Let's assume that you bought the property for 120, you wanted to wholesale it via the MLS for 157,000. So you wanted to make maybe 25,000 on the wholesale. But you decided to do the flip, so do the rehab and then put it back on the market, right? For over 200,000. But imagine, after 8 days, you cancel the listing. But the question is, are you still motivated? Are you still interested in selling the property? Is that a yes or a yes? Yes, because that is why you put it in the MLS in the first place. You wanted to make a profit. So the fact that you cancel the listing doesn't mean that you don't want to sell the property. Does that make sense, friends? So far, so good. So imagine if we cancel the listing 8 days, and one of you, let's assume one of you was to call us and say, hey, you know, I understand that you had a property for sale for 157,000, and you just cancel the listing after 8 days. I'm still interested in buying the property. Would you consider an offer What do you think our answer would be? Of course, right? Because that is why we put the property in the MLS, because we wanted to sell the property. So do you see, friends, the power of that? Had somebody called us, even after the 10-day, the 2 weeks, or even after 2, 3 weeks that we were working on the property, doing the rehab, would you not think that we wanted to sell the property? Of course we wanted to sell the property. So you can see how this is an untapped market that is owned by highly motivated sellers that they wanted to sell the property, but something happened. Maybe they changed their mind. Maybe they wanted to do more of a rehab on the property, or something happened. Maybe the property just has a lot of issues, right? They couldn't sell it. So that is why we're going to tap into canceled and expired listings. So let's make sure that you understand the difference between canceled and expired listings. So if the minute you put a property on the market, you need to hire a real estate broker, whether you're the broker yourself or you hire a broker. So when you want to put the property in the market, you have to sign a listing agreement, okay? And typically that is for at least 6 months. Some brokers do it for less. So once you have a listing agreement, then they're going to put it on the MLS. And then at that point, things may change, right? So in our case, let's assume that we used a broker and we decided to not wholesale the property, but flip the property. So we're going to tell the listing agent, you know what? We are going to need to cancel the listing because we're going to do the work on the property and then put it back in the market. So when we're ready, we're going to call you and we're going to put it back on the market. So please cancel the listing. So that is one way that people are going to cancel listings. And another way is that, let's say we put it on the MLS, but the property just doesn't sell because maybe it has issues, right? It may have mold, it may have termites, lead-based paint, just overall maybe a lot of work, right? But guess what? That could be a potential awesome deal, right? So when they put it on the MLS, it didn't sell for 6 months. So automatically the listing is going to expire. But it doesn't mean, again, it doesn't mean the seller is not motivated to sell it. Does that make sense? So then what we can do as investors, we can reach out to the owner of the property directly. Does that make sense? So I'm going to show you how we're going to be able to find canceled or expired listings from ChicagoDealVault, and then we're going to reach out to the owner directly via email, text, or phone call to find out what the status of the property is, if they're still interested in selling the property or if there are any issues with the property. Because let me tell you, many people, overall, the general public who buys properties from the MLS, they want to have a property that is in moving condition, right? But as investors, we don't care about those properties. We want properties that need a little bit of work, light to medium rehab, right? So that we can make a profit. Those properties, many of them are canceled or expired primarily. So friends, just to wrap up the story on this property, we canceled the listing after 8 days. Then we did the rehab for about 6 weeks, and then we put it back on the market, and we sold it for $230,000. Okay, so we got it for, again, 120. We put in about 35,000. So all in was 155, and we sold it for 220. So that was a flip. But our first choice was obviously to do a wholesale deal. Okay, so friends, wholesale deals that are in the MLS are canceled left and right. So we're gonna find those awesome deals. Now, what I want to show you next is we were able to pull the areas where most of the flips are happening right now in Cook County. Okay, so what I did is I sorted this by the cities that have done the most number of flips in Cook County. Boom. Okay, so number one is South Holland, Matson, Cicero, Homewood, Bellwood. So these are the properties that have the most number of flips for single family homes. This is the sequence. So if I scroll to the right, let me just show you. Right here. Okay, so number of flips for detached, for single family homes. So at the top of the list, we have South Holland with 42 flips right here. So South Holland with 42 flips. Then we have Matson and Cicero. In fact, we just did a property in Cicero, friends. We took you about 2 weeks ago to that property. So Cicero has 31 flips in the last 12 months, okay? But we're gonna be focusing for this exercise on the number one city in Cook County that is in the suburbs that has the most flips, and that is South Holland. So now before we get into South Holland, let's just, for those of you who don't know anything about South Holland, let's just learn what South Holland is all about, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go to the area reports, and we're just gonna analyze the area in a couple of seconds. So South Holland, right here. Okay, so let me maximize this. Okay, so what is South Holland all about? It's in Cook County. Okay, that's the geographic location of South Holland. And then something that we want to find out is the livability score of South Holland. It's 70. So remember, friends, any city that has a livability score of over 70 to 75, it's a great area. So everything is great, as you can see in the area in a nutshell, except for employment. So there are not too many employers there, which could be a factor for population growth, right? Let's just continue and dive into the city to get more details. Something to keep in mind, some factors that we observe: train tracks and highways. So remember, if the property is near train tracks, highways, that's gonna affect your property value. So let's just quickly scroll down. So it's a safe area, so crime, as you can see, is below the red line, which is the average. Schools, if you see the black markers, those are decent schools. Now let's get into the meat of it. Household income, it's 65 in South Holland versus 57 in Illinois, so that's a good sign. Now let's find out about the population. So population is stable, is 0. Okay, one of the factors that I attribute this is employment, right? So there are not too many employers in South Holland. That is why the population growth is stable. So people are not moving into this area. Let's move down to industry. This is going to give you a breakdown of the employers. So as you can see, 30% right here, we have schools, we have hospitals as the main employer. Let's scroll down. Here, what we want to look at is vacancy. Right here, vacancy is 7.35. Renters are 11%. Owner occupied 81%, so which is awesome, friends. So you want to go into areas that have a higher owner occupancy, because that shows pride of ownership. So you're going to attract better buyers and better tenants as well. So overall, South Holland, it's a B area, and we recommend the flip cash flow approach. Now, let's find out from the sales market analysis what's the sweet spot to buy a single family home in South Holland. So the sweet spot to buy a single family home in South Holland is under 105. Okay, so make sure you write these down, because we're going to use that in the filtering criteria. We shouldn't pay more than 105, and we should sell a single family home for over 110 in South Holland. However, keep this in mind. So if we're going to do a flip on the property, guess how long is going to sit in the market just for market time? 3 months, friends, plus the rehab, let's say 2 months for the rehab. So we're looking at 5 months at least to do a flip in South Holland. So as you can see, look, there are tons of flips, 42 flips in the last 12 months in South Holland for single family homes. So this ranks at the top of the flipping cities in Cook County. Okay. Now, if you were to do a buy and hold, let's just quickly understand the rents, the rental market. For a 2-bedroom is $925. For a 3-bedroom is close to $1,400. And then these are the breakdown of the rents, and they're going to stay in the market for about, let me show you here, 1 month. Average market time about a month. So it's a strong rental market. The rents are high for the property prices. So look at these. For a 3-bedroom, you can get $1,400, and then you pay less than $100,000. So that is awesome, friends, because let me tell you, a rule of thumb is that if you buy a property for $100,000, you need to collect in rent at least 1% of the purchase price. So if you buy the property for $100,000, guess what? You need to collect at least $1,000 in rent. So imagine the sweet spot to buy a single family home in South Holland is 105. So look at the rents. So the numbers are going to work amazing for a buy and hold, but it's also a big flipping area. So having said that, friends, let's go ahead and find some awesome deals from one of the untapped lead pipe, and that is from the MLS, but it's considered off market. So what I'm going to do is just click on the MLS tab, and then I'm going to put South Holland. However, I'm going to cap, okay, the purchase price or the listing price. I'm going to cap it at 105, which was the sweet spot to buy, okay? And then for now, we're not interested in active properties, okay? So we are going to tap into expired, okay? So these are the listings that ended up not selling, and obviously the listing agreement expired, so they went off market. So at this point, this doesn't mean the seller is not motivated to sell the property, okay? So we're gonna find hundreds, I can guarantee that, hundreds of off-market properties owned by highly motivated sellers, friends. Okay, this is going to be so powerful. I'm super excited to show you this because now we're starting to tap into this lead pipe that many, look at this. There are actually 175 records. Whoa, 175 records. So this is huge. So as you can see, we sort them by here. You can go low to lowest price, or I'm going to go highest price. So I want to see the highest. I want to see the better properties, okay? Because remember, the sweet spot to buy is less than 105. So I want to look at the better properties that are still under $105,000. So this is one of them. So this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,100 square feet. This is awesome, friends, because guess what? These are the most marketable properties, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, and then we are looking for properties that have under 1,500 square feet. Why? Because we want to contain the rehab expenses low, under 35,000, right? Because the objective is to do a light to medium rehab. Let me quickly take a look at the bottom one. Yeah, look at this one. This is also a brick property. This looks really good. It's a 3-bedroom, 2 bath, 1,200 square feet. So remember, if we were to sell this property, rent this property, we would collect about 1,400s. So the numbers for cash flow are going to work amazing for this property. So I'm just going to click on the first one, friends, just to take a look at what this property is about. So the first thing that I want to know is location, right? So in here, friends, what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in. I just want to make sure that it's not close to a busy street, a highway, train tracks, cemetery, anything that is going to affect the property value, or even worse, like near a river. We don't want the property to be near water reclamation or in a flood zone. But it looks pretty decent. The second thing that we want to do is toggle over to the street view. So I'm going to click on the street view right here. So we just want to make sure that, the area looks fairly decent. Okay, so this is the subject property. We're looking at it right here. So if I just look over the street, despite the cloudy weather, it looks pretty nice. So this is a great property in South Holland. Okay, so now the next step is, since this used to be an MLS property, I want to know the details. So click on the details, so scroll down to the details. So you always want to read the description, okay? And the agent remarks. That's the second thing that you want to know, because let me tell you, many of these properties may be extremely distressed. So they might have like a fire damage, they might be gut rehabs. So we're going to skip all those all day long. So we don't want to take on gut rehabs or like major projects, right? Because remember, friends, we are investors. We are not rehabbers. We're in the business to do a light to medium rehab in and out, either to flip it or to rent it. We're not in the business of like doing additions, knocking walls, changing layouts. No, by no means. Or reconstructing the inside of the property. No. So let me just quickly take a look at this excellent opportunity to own a single-family home, South Holland. So this is great description. Let me look at the agent's remarks. Post-closing repairs or payments will be made for any reason. Okay, so everything seems, it's a hot property. Okay, so everything seems okay with the property. So the next thing that obviously you need to know three things on the property. Once you found the property, you need to understand the numbers, right? So for these, you need to know three things, friends. I'm going to remind you of these. You need to know what the ARV for the property is. So how much can you sell the property for after you've done the repairs? So that is critical. We're going to give you a range right here. And then the second thing that you need to know is how much are you going to spend on the rehab? For these, let me just quickly take a look at the pictures. Not available. So it seems like they removed the pictures from the inside. So we won't be able to know much from the inside. So definitely we need to see the property from the inside. Okay, we're gonna need to reach out to the owner and find out the status of this property. And then finally, we're gonna need to know how much we're gonna be able to offer as our max offer depending on our strategy. So look at this. For a flip, it's way above the asking price. So they were asking 80,000, okay? So this obviously makes perfect sense for a deal, but it depends on the interior condition, right? Today. So let's assume the numbers work, right? So the next step is for you to get in touch with the owner directly. So how do we do that? We're gonna click on the owner loan tab. And in here, right here, we give you the ownership information. So Quincy, so we're gonna click on Quincy's name. What we're gonna do next is we're gonna try to find out their contact information. So in this case, we did not find anything on the owner, okay? So we just ran the skip tracing. We're gonna try another way. So in this case, if this is a great property, right? What we suggest is to do door knocking, right? If this property, if the owner would still be interested in selling the property. So I'm just gonna scroll down to see what the mortgage history and transaction history of this property was. So look at this, back in 2013, the buyer paid 177 for this property. Whoa, that's quite a lot. And it was mostly cash. Look at this. So let's just take a look at another property. So you get the hang of it. Okay. So this property, again, South Holland. It doesn't have any more pictures, but you see, you want to know the numbers, right? You want to know the ARV, you want to know potential rehab estimate, and then how much you can offer for the property. And again, so what you're going to need to do is location, 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 right? So you're going to need to check to make sure that it's in a decent neighborhood, decent street. which is the case. Okay, and then take a look at the description of the property and the agent remarks, just to make sure. So this was a short sale. And then owner loan. Oh, so this is an this, I believe it's an trust. So we won't be able to skip trace a trust. So there are going to be properties owned by LLCs or trust. We won't be able to give you the number, the phone numbers. Let me go down the list. This is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. Location-wise, it seems to be like in a commercial, very close to a commercial. Oh, here we get the, yeah, you see, it's backing up to a commercial strip mall. So that's not the best. It's not 100% residential. But what I want to see is, so in this case, so this was for sale for $79. And let's take a look at the owner information. Okay, we have an LLC for this. So we're running into many properties that we end up seeing the company name. Let me just click on this one. Okay, so this is an owner. So we're not getting the skip tracing on this owner either. But what I want to show you, friends, is the potential that these properties have because they expired for whatever reason. So that is just one lead pipe. We got over 200 records for expired, and we can do exactly the same thing for properties that are canceled. So in here, look at these. So there are like some of them, you're going to find some awesome deals, and these are going to be so easy, friends. So even in your local neighborhood, okay, where you live, go out and look for expired and canceled listings, okay? Because you never know, right? There might be like a golden goose in your backyard that was for sale, for some reason expired, and you have the ability to make an offer to it. So here, it's exactly the same exercise. Let me see if we can see. Yeah, no, they removed the pictures as well. Okay, for these expired listings. So we can do exactly the same search, but now instead of expired, I suggest to do either or. So cancel. I'm going to do find cancel listings. Okay, which was our case, right? With the property in Chicago, we canceled the listing. So in this case, we got 307 records, okay? And then again, what I'm gonna do is, okay, so it's highest price, highest to lowest. So this property looks pretty good. 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 1.5 baths. So I'm gonna click on it. So in this case, something to keep in mind, friends, is that this property was off market back in 2010. So that's something that you need to keep in mind because this might be too old, right, to go after. 2010, so by now, let me see, John Green. So we can scroll down, see the transaction history, see the loan history. So the objective of the exercise, friends, is to show you an untapped lead pipe. Okay, so these are going to have extremely motivated sellers, especially cancel listings, that you can start to tap into. I'm going to open up the line for any questions. Are there any questions on the line on these type of lead pipes, canceled and expired listings, and how you can not only see the numbers to analyze them, but also to get in touch with the owner? Are there any questions on the line? So the next step is if the property makes sense, then you can make an offer directly to the owner, and then you can use, even if you're not a broker, you can still use the 7.0 contract that we generate from here, the only difference is that you're not going to be represented by a broker, and you're not going to have any listing agent information on the last page of the contract. That is the only difference, but again, you can use that contract to make an offer. So friends, please start looking into canceled and expired listings, because that is an untapped lead pipe where you can find amazing deals, just like the example that I gave you. You know, the property we canceled, but still we were interested in doing a wholesale. We wanted to get rid of the property. Even when we were doing the rehab, if somebody had come to us and said, hey, you know, I'm willing to take on the project, sure, make us an offer. Okay, so let me just refresh my page. So friends, let's just quickly summarize what we've done today. So number one is that we have gone to the MLS and we have done searches on canceled and expired. So the difference is that when somebody wants to sell the property and they put it on the MLS, they have to sign an agreement with the listing agent, okay? And then at that point, for whatever reason, the owner may cancel the agreement for whatever reason, okay? So they don't need to wait, let's say, the 6 months. They can cancel it at any time. And the other reason is that they put the property, but it didn't sell, most likely because the property had issues, right? So those are one of the two most important lead pipes that you're going to find from MLS properties that became off market. Okay, so please start looking at expired and canceled listings. And not only that, but find the areas. I'm going to send all of you right now the spreadsheet. Okay, so we're going to include this spreadsheet for the areas that have the most flips in Cook County. Okay, so that you can have an idea where to look, because that is question number one, right? Where am I going to find awesome deals? So if you want to do flips, we're going to give you the spreadsheets where the most flips are happening for any county, okay? And in fact, you can send us an email to support@ChicagoDealVault.com. And then just for those of you who are on the webinar, and then we're gonna just send us the county that you are interested in, and we're gonna send you the spreadsheet, because we have multiple spreadsheets for different counties. So look at this. So we have for Kane, for Kendall, for McHenry, and so forth. So I can pull up the spreadsheet with the most flips in Lake, for instance, Buffalo Grove, Highland Park, and so forth. So we can send you this spreadsheet for those of you who are on the webinar tonight for the county that you're interested in, and then we'll send that over to you so that at least you have a starting point that you can utilize to start finding amazing deals from expired and canceled listings. And not only that, but once you find the deals, please make sure that location is okay, right? Nothing close to rivers, highways, expressways, train tracks, and so forth. And then just look at the numbers. So the three numbers that you need to understand is how much can I sell the property for, right? So the ARV. Second, we give you the range for the rehab, but remember, you always have to see the property from the inside. And finally, you need to know how much you're going to be able to offer for the property. Okay, so those three numbers, and then start getting in touch with the owners. And then keep in mind, if you're interested in the property, you can utilize the 7.0 contract. Whether you're a broker or not. So let me just show you. I'm just pulling one property from MLS for my deal alerts. You can utilize the 7.0. So this is how you can make an offer right here. So click on this 7.0, plug in just three numbers, how much you're gonna offer, when you're gonna close, and your earnest money. And boom, click on submit, and we're gonna generate the offer for you. The only thing that you don't need is you don't need the broker's information, because there's no broker in between. At this point, it is between you and the owner of the property, okay? So remember, to find out who the owner is, just click on the owner loan tab, and this is going to give you the owner's information. Okay, so in this case, look, we did find a hit for the owner of this property. Okay, so this is how you can reach out to the owner directly and find out the reason why the property got canceled or expired, and then make an appointment to go see the property. And when you go make an appointment, please make sure that you take a copy or 2 copies of the contract. Okay, so you have the option to take the 7.0 or the off-market contract that we have under any of the off-market lead pipes. You can also take that contract because it's a 2-page contract. Let me show you that. It's non-invasive, non-intrusive right here. Make offer off-market, because technically the property is off-market, right? So you can keep it simple and then just take this contract, which is only 2 pages. And remember, your objective is to get the owner to sign this contract at the right price. And we're telling you how much you need to make an offer for depending on your strategy. So make sure you stick to these numbers. These numbers are under the assumption that the rehab is going to be within this range. So obviously, you have to see the property from the inside just to verify that you need a light to medium rehab. If the rehab is a gut rehab, these numbers do not apply, friends. Okay, if it's a gut rehab, you know, you can spend 80, 90, 100,000 if you need to pretty much redo everything in the property. But again, friends, keep in mind, we're not rehabbers, we're investors. We want to come in and do a light to medium rehab. So stick to these numbers. And friends, I want to make sure that you spend 100% of your time on the 3% of the activities in real estate that are going to make you money. And those activities are making offers, getting properties under contract. So in order for that to happen, guess what? You need to be talking to owners. Remember, that's how you're going to get in touch with the owners directly. We're going to give you their contact information. So start talking to owners, start talking to listing agents. So listing agents, once you pull up the property from the MLS, go to the details, and we're going to give you the listing agent contact information. So you need to start talking to listing agents. You need to start talking to owners, and you need to start making offers, friends. That's the 3% of the activities in real estate that will actually make you money. Anything else that you do, guess what? Is overhead, is not going to make you money. So please make sure that you get on the phone and that you start contacting listing agents and owners on deals that we show you, that you access through ChicagoDealVault. Okay, and then if you need assistance with vetting a deal, right, making sure that the numbers make sense, please reach out to us by clicking on Ask a Pro right here on the upper right-hand corner, the red button, Ask a Pro. Please make sure that when you click it, just send us a message. Hey, please help me analyze, and then the property address, right? 123 Main. And then we'll be happy to analyze a deal for you, or anything that you have questions. So, or if you just can't find out the owner's information, please send us the property address, and we're going to do more due diligence to find out the contact information for the owner, okay? Even if the property is owned by an LLC, we can still find out who the owner is. We go to the cyber city of Cook, and then we can find out the president of the LLC, and then we can skip trace that individual. So we can help you. We're here to help you. And then, friends, you see this button, schedule training. If for whatever reason you need a refresher or you need some assistance, okay, on anything, finding deals, understanding the analysis of the deal, getting properties on the contract, just about anything, please make sure that you take advantage of our support one-on-one. You can just click on the button, and then we're going to take you to the scheduling calendar. Remember, we work 7 days a week. So you can schedule, pick a day, Saturday, Sunday, any day during the week and the time. And then we're going to train you or give you a refresher over the phone, like via webinar. So friends, are there any questions on the line?
Go.
Yes, yes.
Speak on here?
Yes, we hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. I was just wondering about the do not call list now.
That's a great question. So that's a great question. So the question is, let me go back to this individual. So when you click on the owner loan tab, so when you click on the owner's name, we're going to give you the contact information, but this is not scrubbed against the do not call list. But let me tell you a tip of advice. If you are a licensee or a real estate broker, it's a good idea to check this against the do not call list, because we as licensees are regulated under higher standards, right? So we can get penalized up to $2,500 if we call somebody in the do not call list. But if you are not a licensee, the worst that could happen is that they're going to tell you, please don't call me anymore, and then they'll hang up on you. Okay, that's the worst that could happen. But as a licensee, it's a great idea to check against the do not call list. We have not done that for you. We just give you the information, right? We just want to make sure that you have everything for you to get in touch with the owner. But great question.
So I mean, but as a whatever entrepreneur or whatever investor, probably still a good idea to scrub those phone numbers,
exactly.
right?
Exactly. You can still look up the phone number in the do not call list. It wouldn't hurt. Yes. Just if you want to avoid somebody hanging up on you or being not so nice. But we found, because we make a lot of phone calls, we found that over 90% of the phones are not in the do not call list. So we just make phone calls left and right. So it is a good idea, but it's entirely up to you if you want to.
Now, is there some kind of information? Do not call. Is that an individual thing we have to do, or is there somewhere that we could, get a good deal on it, or get it? I know free, but
are you talking about the do not call list?
Yeah, checking numbers.
Yes. So you can just Google do not call list, and then you can just put in the phone number, and then it's going to tell you if it's in the list or not. So it's just very simple. You just copy paste into search engine in Google, and they're going to tell you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Are there any other questions on the line? So please, friends, I want to reiterate, for those of you who are on the line, please send us an email, and we'll be happy to send you the list of suburbs or cities that have the most flips in your county. Okay, send us an email, and we'll be happy to send that to you so that you have a starting point, right? For those of you who want to do flips, we have that information, so we'll be happy to share that with you. Send you the spreadsheet so that you can identify the areas that have the most flips in your local market.
Hugo?
Yes.
What's one more question? Would that kind of be the same information you would look for cash buyers? Is that kind of the same?
Oh, cash buyers is right here. So cash buyers right here. So you can click on cash buyers, and then you can look them up. Let's say we were looking into South Holland. So if, let's say, you're going to get a property on the contract and you just want to wholesale it, you want to find out all the cash buyers in South Holland, 147 right here. So these are the properties they bought cash. These are the people who bought them for cash. So these are people who are used to paying retail prices cash. So these are your target audience. So before even you start doing the wholesale, guess what? We're giving you your customers to do the wholesale to. So these people are going to be able to pay you top dollars. Not only that, but you can filter. Let me give you this tip by number of properties. So here we can filter by, just click on the column name, and we're going to tell you the ones that have done the most purchases, cash. Look at this. Some of them are going to be like LLCs. but in the several properties that these LLCs have done. So yeah, these are obviously your target client, these LLCs. And if you need help, finding out how to reach or get in touch with the president of the LLC, we can help you do that.
Great.
Awesome. Are there any other questions on the line? So friends, please start searching for canceled and expired listings in your local market. You're going to be able to find some awesome deals from highly motivated sellers. Okay. So if there are no further questions on the line, thank you for joining, friends, and stay tuned for next week's webinar. And then I want to show you that tomorrow we have also a big event. It's going to be a live event in Elmhurst. Let me show you what that is. That's going to be at 6:30, and the event is this one. Systematic approach to building an empire from scratch. So it's going to be a very cool live event. So all of you are welcome to come. This is the address in Waterford Banquet in Elmhurst. So it's a live event. So we're going to show you the A through Z blueprint on how you can systematically build an empire from scratch, right? Because there are rule of thumbs that you've got to follow to be able to accomplish this. So we're going to show you how you're going to be able to do what we've done, 23 rentals and 3 flips in the last 2 years. So we're going to show you how you're going to be able to replicate that. Okay, friends, so if no further questions, I hope to see you tomorrow. If not, please stay tuned for next week's mastermind. And don't forget to send us an email if you want a list of the areas where most of the flips are happening. Okay, friends, so thank you very much for joining tonight, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.